Well, first, I just want to acknowledge what Justin just said a moment ago, that the water is receding. It has hit that crest. That is some good news for people here in Frankfort who have seen some significant flooding over the course of the last few days. But unfortunately, despite not reaching that record level, the damage is already done. This is just one example right off Benson Avenue here in Frankfort, near the field where Frankfort High School plays their football games. You see just this entire neighborhood covered in water, cars fully engulfed, the streets all the way up significantly, because the Kentucky River is just a stone throws away from where we are currently standing. And this is just what you have. You walk up to what would presumably be the front door of one home, but unfortunately, there's no home here. This was a home. There was a home over there. There were some other homes back that way. There was a church back that way. This damage was so intense, it just swept right through. But as you look in the other direction, there are some homes that were not hit as hard. Before we get to more details about the crash, I want to direct you to what we are seeing right now. A tow truck just arrived at the scene and is currently clearing the truck from the scene. If you see, the car right now is currently on all four wheels, but previously it had flipped over onto its side. It was basically on the top with all the wheels facing up. That was just about 5 minutes ago, and you see they're clearing more debris. And regardless of where you stand in the debate on AI in the classroom, district leaders here in Anderson County say it isn't all bad. They are teaching teachers how they can use AI in their classes to enhance the educational experience for students. I'll have more info on that coming up in the next hour. For kids, the summer is like a roller coaster. You build and build and build for school to let out. Then it does, and it's a rush with summer camps, vacations, and family fun traditions. But as the summer goes along and the roller coaster gets closer and closer back to the station, that thrill of that initial drop starts to wear off. Documentations across Kentucky, it's across the U.S. I'm joined by Gunny Cole. You're based out of Knoxville. Thank you so much for taking some time to chat with us this morning.
You're very welcome. Yeah. Good morning to you.
So you've been here since Friday night.
That's right.
What has been this process like, getting up here and immediately setting up a response for people who need the help so desperately? Well, about it before. You started playing in 2017.
That's right.
Where did you get that start?
So really my parents, they were the ones that kind of got me into the sport. And so yeah, I've been playing since 2017. The sport's really grown exponentially since then, which has been very cool to see. And that was kind of...
Dr. Liggins is the first to admit the district made a mistake in how this proposed tax hike was handled. But as you're about to hear, he and his team have their reasons for why things unfolded the way they did. And his team is also working on setting up FCPS for future financial success, despite some potential challenges.
My commitment is to do better, to get better. And with that sometimes that means saying, we got that one wrong, and now that we have more information, I'm certainly going in the direction to try to rebuild that trust and let our community know that we really do want to hear from you.
We got the chance to talk for the first time with Dr. Liggins after the school board's proposed occupational tax hike in Fayette County, an idea announced the Friday before Memorial Day.
We always post our agendas on the Friday before the Monday's board meeting. In hindsight, you know better, you do better. I wish that had been handled differently. I'll fall on the sword for that one. I will tell you, it's something I really want to ensure that we improve upon.
The proposed tax hike was designed to help the district close a $16 million spending gap that Liggins says is due to a number of factors.
Our current budget is completely balanced and doing quite well. It happens by, federal funding is no longer in place. When we're budgeting for things to come next year, things have cost a whole lot more. I can tell you that every dollar that goes before the board is something that is directly a direct impact of the strategic plan. We're an open book. People can ask questions. Most times, unfortunately, what I've heard, no one's ever come and said, why is this happening? Could you explain this? And so I'm very confident that we are doing things that are impacting student outcomes.
As the school board decided to table its tax increase, State Auditor Allison Ball announced her office will conduct a special examination into the district, one Liggins welcomes.
Are there things that are going to be found? I can't tell you that, but what I certainly can tell you is that every single thing that we do is for the benefit of kids, and so I welcome a fair assessment of how we're conducting business here.
Liggins shared his hopes that the newly created Budget Solutions Work Group will find ways to help.
I've already heard, I've gotten emails and people have reached out and with some ideas, and many ideas are long-term, which we've thought of, many great ideas, but right now we're trying to fix a gap that exists for the coming year.
And that first meeting for the Budget Solutions Work Group is tomorrow evening at 5:30. Now, coming up in the next hour, I spoke with Dr. Liggins on a number of other issues from this past school year, including the class of 2025, his future with the district as he had his contract renewed for another 4 years, how the district plans on responding to future snow and ice events, and much, much more. So we'll have that coming up at 6 o'clock. For now, though, live in Lexington, Tyler Melito, Fox 56 News. Floodwaters covering this distillery and the grounds here is one of the lasting images from those April floods. I had more people reach out to me about Buffalo Trace specifically following the floods than anything else. It just shows how much of an impact this place has, not just on Kentucky's bourbon industry, but on the tourism industry as well. And with those things in mind is what had staff working so hard to get it back to where it is right now. It's often said that waiting is the hardest part, and that was especially the case for those who call Buffalo Trace Distillery home.
There's only so much you can do. You prepare, and then you need to wait for that river to crest.
When that wait was over, the Kentucky River had crested at a near record level. And if you look inside the distillery, you'll see just how historic this flood really was.
We crested on Monday. We were able to come in, assess the situation. But honestly, before it even crested, we had already started the process of what a cleanup would look like. You know, preparing contractors, our team members, getting everyone in here to get ready for that inevitable cleanup that is going to come.
So much has changed with this place from 1978 when the last record flood happened to 2025.
Yeah.
And one of the big things is technology.
Yes.
How did that kind of all play into the flood plan?
So a couple days before, there's a lot of work in bringing those things up. But yeah, you mentioned a lot has changed. I mean, where we're at now is a boiler house. These would have originally been coal boilers powering the distillery and the steam here.
Wow.
So we've moved on from that a little bit, but this is another place that's definitely affected by the water since we're right against the river.
With Kentucky Derby 151 just 4 weeks away, distillery staff were on a mission to get things back to normal.
Knowing that tourism drives visitation here, that was top of mind for us to make sure we could have visitors back to support the local restaurants and shops and everything happening in Frankfort.
And people from all over were ready to lend a hand.
I cannot believe how many people reached out that called us, social media, emailed, that wanted to come and help with the cleanup. Like the physical cleanup, they offered to do anything. And I think that's just such an amazing part of what Kentucky is.
This flood, historic, like we've been saying multiple times.
Yeah.
It adds another chapter to the history of Buffalo Trace. When you look back in another 200 or so years, what do you think this flood will still mean then? How do you think they'll be talking about this?
Well, we know that mark's going to be on the wall. We hope so. You know, I hope they look back at the resilience and not just of recovering, but the people that supported it, supporting the community, and like seeing Kentucky and really what bourbon means. I really hope they are proud of what was overcome during then, and maybe a little inspiration if they have to deal with it again.
And Buffalo Trace officials say that they are about 90% fully back to normal from where they were before those floods in April. But despite that, they are still giving back to those impacted by the floods in April, as well as last month's deadly tornado in southern Kentucky. And that's another thing they hope is part of the lasting impact of how Buffalo Trace responded from this flood, is that their willingness to give back. And you can be a part of it with the Pour It Forward Kentucky charity fundraiser. You can use the link inside this story on fox56news.com. They have a lot of cool items up for auction, but you gotta act fast. The auction closes on Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Reporting live from Frankfort, Tyler Melito, Fox 56 News. Justin?